Somewhere back around 2009, 2010, Jalen and his girlfriend, Lakyla, take a trip with their Navajo friend Shannon to visit Shannon's mom and some of her family who live out on the Navajo reservation in Arizona. They get there at night, and as you may or may not know, there isn't really electricity or running water for that matter on most of the reservation, so it gets very dark at night. When they get to Shannon's friend Louise's hogan, which is a traditional Navajo dwelling made mostly of dirt and wood, they get out of the car and Jalen takes a glance up at the night sky. And holy crap, he's never seen stars like that before or since. He feels like he's standing at the center of a real-life planetarium. It is just so insanely beautiful. They go inside and Jalen notices that the hogan has a dirt floor and there's only a dim light cast from some kerosene lanterns. Jalen has never been inside a traditional Navajo hogan before, so he's kind of tripping a little, but in a good way. Lakyla announces, "I need a bathroom." Louise tells her that she can use the outhouse, but be careful because they've seen some mountain lion tracks around there recently, and she hands Jalen a .45 revolver and some rounds to put in it. So he loads the shells into the .45 and he and Lakyla head out to the outhouse. Jalen is on high alert, fully expecting a mountain lion to come ripping around the corner any minute. So he's like super hyper focused on his surroundings. The first thing that he notices is that it's extremely quiet around them. And as everyone knows, this is typically indicative of the presence of a large predator. Jalen also thinks he sees something moving through the brush, but it's so dark he can't really tell if there's something coming or if his eyes are just playing tricks on him. The other thing Jalen notices is a distinct odor in the air. Smells like rotten trash mixed with poop, but he thinks maybe that's just because he's standing next to the outhouse. Lakyla finishes up inside and they start making their way back to the hogan. Something runs out in front of them and Jalen raises the revolver but doesn't shoot. Could be a mountain lion or could just be some stray res dog. They get back to the hogan and Jalen unloads the revolver and puts it back up on the shelf where Louise had gotten it from. Louise is there with her kids and it's a small living space. Plus, she's not real hip on the idea of strangers staying in her house with her kids there. So Shannon, Lakyla, and Jalen thank Louise for the restroom and the chance to stretch their legs and get back in the car because they still have to get to Shannon's mom's house. And Shannon's mom is Hopi and lives on the Hopi side of the fence. So they still have a ways to go. Getting around the reservation can be difficult in the daytime when directions usually include such verbiage as take a right at the old red tire or when you get to the fork in the road, take it. At night, good luck. The Navajo Nation is 27,000 square miles of dirt roads and dry wash arroyos, and it is nighttime. It's really easy to get lost out there as there's just enough shrubbery and topographical relief to make it impossible to see too far in any one direction. They have Shannon with them, but even she's having a tough time finding the road out to the Hopi. The road is fairly well boxed in on either side with pinyon trees and juniper bushes, but something runs out of the brush and slaps the car with a loud boom. Jalen's driving, so he hits the brakes, thinking maybe somebody needs help. Shannon is instantly freaked and yells at Jalen, "Keep driving!" Jalen checks the rearview mirror and can see something in the brake lights. Looks like a person, only they look like they're crouched over in an awkward angle, and it looks like they're wearing some kind of animal pelt or something. The other thing that stands out to Jalen is the two white eyes that are reflecting the light with a reddish glow. He hits the gas and peels out of there, fishtailing on the loose gravel. He checks the rearview mirror again and can see that thing running behind the car, and it is gaining on them. It runs up behind them and jumps into the air, landing in front of the car. Only it isn't a person anymore. It's a mountain lion standing upright like a person with regular human-looking legs and two strong, muscular arms with black and red markings like stripes on them. Its chest and torso are also quite jacked, like a human bodybuilder with rippling abs and more bizarre markings. But it has the overall tan color and head of a mountain lion. It's leering at them with these ethereal white eyes, and it has these long, sharp canines hanging out of its mouth, which is twisted into an evil grin. It also has a long mountain lion tail that is leisurely swishing back and forth as it sways from side to side. Shannon screams, and Jalen throws the car into reverse, almost swerving off the road before pulling a maneuver that he learned in park ranger training, where you pop the transmission into neutral and crank the wheel to spin around. It's a pretty popular movie stunt that you've probably seen a million times because it's not that hard to do, but it's a good one to know if you ever need to back out of somewhere quickly. Jalen goes flying back down the road, and when he looks in the rearview mirror, he doesn't see anything behind them. They finally get back to Highway 160 that leads out to Tuba City. Jalen takes a left onto the highway, and to his horror, sees that thing running alongside them, looking directly at him the whole time. But now looks like a man again, wearing a mountain lion's skin and running at a like no human ever speed. Now that they're back on the paved road, even if it is one that is full of potholes and rocks, Jalen is able to pick up enough speed that the creature finally starts to fall behind, and with a final burst of speed, runs up alongside the car and slaps it again, which freaks Jalen out so much that he almost crashes the car into the ditch. It also makes a loud hissing sound that is so terrifying that it truly puts the fear of God in Jalen. And it's so loud they can hear it over the sound of the road even though the windows are rolled up. It hisses one more time before running off into the dark desert landscape. Jalen does not slow that car down the entire rest of the way to Tuba City until they have to make a quick stop for gas before driving out to the Hopi Reservation the long way. When they finally get to Shannon's mom's house, Shannon, in a quiet, shaky voice, tells her what happened, visibly shaken and having to relive the details of that horrific nightmare. Lakyla and Jalen aren't even really sure what has just happened, but they know they don't ever want to see that thing again. Shannon's mom burns some sage and says a prayer in Hopi, but Jalen's pretty sure that he's not the only one who doesn't get much sleep that night. And he only has one thing to say to whatever that thing was. Skinwalker Mountain Lion Man, let's never meet again.